There's a fish, finally. Little guy, not a big one at all. Little small black-nosed crappie. He's got quite a few friends down there. Just getting out here this morning. It's about 9:30. And I waited to get here a little bit later, sort of on purpose, because I want to tell you guys kind of about something that I've been watching, noticing. It's something that I find pretty darn interesting, and it's proven to be true several times for me in the past, I'm gonna say month and a half. And I'm finally to the point where I feel like I know enough about it, and I've studied it enough that I can talk about it and have a somewhat valuable opinion on it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about peak feeding times, solunar tables, moon phases, all that kind of thing. Does it affect fish? Does it not? I'll give you my opinion. Stay tuned. All right, guys, I'm idling around kind of looking for some new stuff. This lake level's starting to drop, so every time I come over here, things are changing a little bit. So I'm just idling looking. So while I'm idling looking, I'm going to show you guys on my phone here what I'm talking about, what the purpose of the video is. I've had this idea for a while, but I didn't want to do a video on it until I had studied it enough to form a really good opinion. And what really got me to opening my eyes on this deal, me and a good friend of mine were crappie fishing about a month and a half ago, and we had put in at one lake, fished for 2 or 3 hours, found several schools of crappie, and never caught a single one. They would not bite. So we took out, went to a different lake, and fished for 2 or 3 hours, found several schools, caught a few small ones, and then all of a sudden it was like every crappie in the lake started biting. It was like you flipped a light switch. And we proceeded to probably catch 40 or 50 in the next couple of hours, where the rest of the day on 2 different lakes we had maybe caught a handful all day long. And so I got home that night, and it really, like, it bugged me in my mind to think what in nature clicked and what made those fish start biting. So I downloaded this app right here, and I'm going to show you guys. I don't know exactly what this app is called. I'll show you the little, that's the, if you've got an iPhone, that's the icon for it. Go search Solunar Tables, Best Fishing Times in the Apple App Store, and you want that particular one right there. So when it comes up, it goes off of your GPS location is what it goes off of. And it'll tell you, here's the whole month of September right here, and it'll tell you the best fishing days, blah blah blah. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like when I'm fishing a tournament on the Elite Series, I don't ever look at any of this stuff right here because I don't want it in my mind. My theory has always been on fishing that they're always biting somewhere, and I stand beside that. I'll stand beside that until they put me in a casket one of these days. There's always fish biting somewhere, I promise you. I want to let that be known before I go any further. But on this particular day, I got home that night that I was talking about, going back to the fishing trip me and my buddy went on. I got home that night and I pulled up this app, and like it was within 10 minutes of when we started catching those fish, there was a major feeding time that started. So that's what really got me to watching this. And I'm out here this morning, and I just graphed over a pretty decent looking little school of fish right there. You'll see that. I'm out here this morning. I got out here at 9:30. It's 10:25 right now. I've caught 1 crappie. I've fished for 2 big schools of them. They'll follow my bait. I've had a few short strikes. I've tried different colors, things like that. So here's what I want to show you guys. I kind of timed my day on purpose today because I want to prove a point. So when you get this app, you click on this little clock right here, and it's going to show me the major feeding times for today. There's a major feeding time coming up starting at 11:56 a.m. and running till 1:56 p.m. It's a 2-hour window. Most major feeding times are 2-hour windows, and those minor feeding times are something to look at as well. But that major feeding time, 11:56 to 1:56, we're going to do some damage during that time. I bet you. Watch and see. We'll talk some more about it in a little bit, and I'd love to know your guys' opinion on this right here. Have you ever studied solunar tables? What this is when the moon is straight overhead and when the moon is directly underfoot. That's what causes these major and minor feeding times. And right now we just had what's called a harvest moon, which is kind of the full moon in September. It's some kind of big super moon or something, but I'd love to know your guys' opinion on this. So drop it in the comments. All right, let's get to fishing a little bit. There's one. That feels like a crappie. Yep, a good one too. Big old black nose. Quit. Just been looking around, and pretty fish. Big fat thick one. I've been looking around for a couple of hours, just trying to mark new stuff. I've talked about that before. I always spend time anytime I go looking for new stuff I hadn't looked at in the past, and just kind of waiting on the time to get right. There's another one. Another good one too. Feels like a big one. Oh yeah. Yep, that's what we're after. Another big old black nose. That is a pretty one. Be a good one to eat, but I'm gonna throw them back today. Finally starting to bite a little bit. There's another one. It's a nice one too. Another one about that same size. Golly, this one might be a little bigger. This is a big old crappie. God, what a thick one. I shouldn't do it, but I'm going to. Golly. Well, that is a good one right there. I don't care where you're from. That's a dang good crappie right there. Big black nose. Big broad. Already got a big old gut on it. Look how thick she is. Them fish been feeding, man. Man, what a pretty fish. Now I want y'all to notice something. I just sat here and caught 3 right in a row. 12:43. That peak feeding time started at 11, I believe it was 11:56. I believe is what it was. And this is the first school that I've hit all day that are really firing, where I've caught fish consecutively. I mean, I've not caught much of nothing all morning long. Here's another one. Gosh, that is unreal. I mean, that fish came up off the bottom and just slammed it. It's like you flipped a light switch. Like I was saying this morning, it's freaking crazy, man. That's another dang good fish too. Probably a, I don't know, 11.5 incher. Perfect eating size fish. They ripped my bait, but I might be able to get one more out of it. I want to get back down there and get back on them while the getting's good. There he is. Man, they are absolutely just, that one ate it on the way down. They're just slamming it. That is crazy. They just started biting. Just all of a sudden. I knew it would happen. That is so crazy. I'm sure that's happened to y'all. Where you're fishing and fishing and fishing and you're like, man, is it ever going to happen? And then all of a sudden it's like every crappie in the lake wants to start biting. It's so crazy. And it's not just crappie fishing. It happens bass fishing too, believe me. God, it's such a beautiful, beautiful fish. Another big black nose. I got to get me another bait here right quick. I'm going to show you guys exactly about my setup, but more so than my setup today, it's more about timing. I'm just telling you, it is. This is a new color itty bitty slab hunter. This color is called blood minnow, and it's like a transparent red color. I'll show you guys kind of a close-up of it right here. Sort of a transparent red color. It's got some little bitty blue flake in it. I'm throwing it on a 1/64 ounce crappie magnet or trout magnet jig head. Just threading it up on there real straight. Push them up on there just like that. Up the line about 14, 16 inches. I've got a size 5 split shot. I got 4-pound Vicious 100% fluorocarbon leader. My main line is 5-pound Vicious braid. There he is. Another good one. Yep. Gosh, these are all just big old crappie. A lot bigger ones than I've been catching, I'm gonna tell you. Quit. Look at that big joker. That's the kind you want. Man, they are fat. There you go. Hit it on the way down. Unreal. I'm telling you, it's just like you flip the light switch all of a sudden. That is a big one too. I know I'm saying that about every one of them, but they are. Every one of them are big. Look at that big joker, man. Jeez. Come here. So big I can't even hold on to it. Close to a 14-inch crappie right there. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up with that. Fun day. I wanna know your guys' opinion. Give me your thoughts on solunar tables, peak fishing times. I know you guys, a lot of you have thought about it. I'd love to know your experiences with it. There's definitely something to it for sure. I'll keep you posted as long as I kind of keep looking at it. It's not the end all be all. They will always bite somewhere. But there's something to be said for it, in my opinion anyway. We caught some good ones today. They fed for about 2 hours. They're done now. They're not biting anymore. I can catch one every now and then, but it's not every cast like it was. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Subscribe if you hadn't. I'll see you next time right here. Brandon Lester Fishing.